Welcome to In the Moment with Stephen Sipes, a weekly conversation of exploration filled with fun, funny, mysterious, intriguing, revealing, engaging, eye-opening, and educational topics of discussion. When we are in the moment, we never know what we're going to get. We're not teaching, we're talking. We're not educating, we're exploring. When we are in the moment, we are open. We are one. We are all one, forever beings. Indeed.
All right, everybody, welcome back to In the Moment with Stephen Sipes. I am your faithful co-host, Matthew Jensen, and I'm here with my dear brother, Stephen Sipes. Take it away, Stephen.
Thank you, Matthew. You are a dear brother, bless your heart.
Likewise.
Thank you for coming back, you guys. I'm excited to expound on all these wonderful topics that Matthew keeps bringing up. Every time you give me a new topic, it's refreshing. Thank you for knowing me so well. It's a great thing that you're doing here and that we're doing together.
I agree.
We complement each other a lot. It's great.
I feel that too. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd like to ask you some questions and let you expound on things. You're a genius.
Maybe in a future episode.
Oh my gosh.
We'll see what you come prepared with next week.
Okay, I'm going to work on that.
Right. Sure. As far as this week goes, as always, I'd love it if you give just a little bit of an overview on what it means to be in the moment.
Oh, okay. Well, being in the moment, what it is to being in the moment. Okay. Oh, you could take a deep breath on that.
Do it.
You could be glib and say it's like being high all the time. And it is, because when you're in the moment, you know everything. It's knowingness, which I write knowingness with a capital K.
Yeah.
Being in the moment puts you in a place where you can flash, forgive the experience, the reference to flash, on almost anything at any time. And it happens so quickly that you don't even have to think it through, so to speak. You see it. It's there. It's in front of you. And it's real. So that you're guided with a capital G at all times. You flash on all of the, not to say all of them, but on a great many of the experiences, let's call them, that make you, the individual who's in the moment, a genius in many ways. You become, as I term it, a conduit of spirit. You speak as someone who knows what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, it isn't from the ego, it's from the heart completely.
Yeah.
And it's an educated heart, because the brain is a wonderful tool, and the brain has all these millions and millions, maybe billions of references. Our experiences are so rich. I love talking to children, especially because they remember everything. They're in the moment all the time. They're not distracted by the illusions that we adults get off into. And they are real genius. I have the privilege of driving my 10-year-old daughter and her little friend who's 9 to school almost every day. And just to hear their conversations, sometimes tears roll down my eyes just to listen to them. The way they speak to each other, so knowingly, so beautifully. They are in the moment. It's beautiful.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I had a pretty profound experience yesterday watching, if you can believe it, of all things, a TikTok video. And it was a mother was filming her young son. He was maybe 5 or 6 years old. And he was watching the film Avengers. And I don't want to, spoiler alert, skip 10 seconds, but Iron Man dies. And in that moment, the child had a very real, honest, so innocent and beautiful emotional response to that.
Yeah.
And he vocalized his feelings about it. And his mom was just there for him in the moment. And I'm telling you, I can just imagine the hundreds of thousands of people were like me, just tears just streaming, because
Mm,
it was so innocently beautiful,
innocently
right?
beautiful. Yeah.
And not impeded by fear of who is anybody going to judge me for being sad or anything like that. Just honest, raw beauty.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. Children are our leaders.
absolutely. So
Leaders.
being in the moment is something we probably lose a little bit of after, getting through the childhood phase of our lives and becoming quote unquote adults, which you and I try to refuse to do. Um,
We don't ever want to
uh,
grow up, Matthew.
no way,
No.
no way. I loved that one of the first things I ever learned about you is that for the first few years I knew you, you were only 7 years old. And
I
that, I always loved that.
Oh, thank you. I feel like I am 7 years old, and I like arguing with 7 year olds.
Absolutely.
I,
What's
ha-
more fun than that?
I had a great argument with my daughter last night before she went to bed. She's telling me that in 1952 they had tie dyed T-shirts, and I said, "No, no, you made a mistake. It's 1962.
Yeah,
The hippie movement was in the 60s, not the
right.
50s." Oh no, Dad, it was 1952. I
Oh
have it
my
in my
gosh.
book. And I said, "I'll bet you $5." She says, "I'm not betting. I know it's 1952."
Wow.
So now we have this thing. Was there tie dyes shirts in 52? I don't
Right.
think so. I think it's a 60s thing.
It's definitely seems to have risen to prominence in the 60s, that's for sure.
Okay, well, then maybe that could be it. They started in
I
the
don't know.
50s and
Yeah.
sprang into the 60s. Maybe, yeah, maybe that is it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Worst case scenario, I'm sure you're not going to be too upset about giving your beautiful daughter $5,
No, no, and
right?
she wouldn't take the bet anyway.
Right, right, right.
And by the way,
um,
she has $5, no problem.
oh yeah, of
Yeah.
course, of course. This week I wanted to talk about something that is unbelievably timely in today's wildly and dramatically changing world. Uh, Something else that has risen to prominence in the world now is the open discussion about what were formerly UFOs, now known as UAPs or unidentified aerial phenomenon,
Right.
and aliens.
Hmm.
And it's no longer a taboo subject that's left to conspiracy theorists or guys in tin vans living out on mountaintops broadcasting to the local, I don't know how to even describe it, wild-eyed hairy-knuckled conspiracy theorist types. It's become very mainstream, and it's exciting in a way, and it's even led to there is a forthcoming declassification of documents from the US government specific to UAPs. And I can't help but think about, there's the section in your book where you speak very openly and candidly and honestly and very vulnerably, to be honest, about your experience with otherworldly entities and
Yes.
an experience that you specifically had. And I just wonder what your thoughts are. Do you, I'm dare I say, do you feel maybe that you could have a little bit of vindication on the horizon from anyone who would say, nay, nay, that did not happen?
Well, vindication is basically a word that makes you acceptable on the ego level with other people,
Sure.
which is not my goal. But
No, good point.
no, but it's always nice to have people say, "Oh my gosh, if you think that you can give us this gift and that there are aliens actually surrounding our planet, then
Hmm.
maybe I ought to pay more attention to this subject and learn about it myself."
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, none of us are going to accept it until we experience it ourselves. And I was privileged to have that experience, and it's enriched me. So I think others can have the experience. Today, now there's a new book coming out on Amazon
Mm.
called. Oh gosh, I don't have it in front of me. The topic is "Do Unto Earth," and it's channeled by a wonderful lady, Carol. What's her last name? Sorry,
Serene.
Serene. Thank you.
Yep.
Where she channels Pax, Pax,
Yeah.
who is an alien who is here to protect the earth. And
Yeah.
his wisdoms come through her. And it's beautifully written, easy to read, very entertaining,
Mm-hmm.
and I highly recommend it. However, it's not a personal experience that you'll have when you read the book, like the personal experience that I had,
Yeah.
which was that 11 plus myself, the 12 of us, boarded a ship. We actually boarded a ship.
Yeah.
So this is an extraordinary experience, and I can read part of it. My book is this is the book All One Era,
Yeah.
and it's also available on Amazon. And I could read a little bit about it to give you
Please.
my experience. But of course, again, you don't get the experience by listening. You only
Yeah.
would get it if you were actually a part of it. The 12 of us then walked over to a field away from all electric light pollution, where we were immediately taken by what seemed to be the triangle playing a game of hide and go seek with us. So this was a triangle of three lights darting around the sky. It was going up, down, sideways. It was undeniably a UFO. And
Yeah.
I called out my friends. We were all there in Abadania, Brazil, on a mission. We had a 1 week visit with Joella de Dios, John of God, there, and it was a beautiful healing experience. I'll skip most of this because it takes a while to talk about, but I want to give you the part where we were invited to come on the ship. Let's see. We grounded ourselves and began toning. Beginning from the root chakra, the base of our spines, we could feel the energy rising all the way up through each of our chakras to the crown at the top of our heads, releasing the Kundalini serpent. We chanted in unison as our energies rose up above our heads toward the three darting foreign triangular lights. At that point, their lights changed, and we knew that our final chants had raised our vibration to a state in which we were in harmony and at one of their and at one with their frequency. Now that's very key. They need to lower their frequency to
Mm.
communicate with us, and we need to heighten ours. And this incident was the 12 of us were on a 1 week retreat with a grand healer. And so we were in high frequency, so to speak. We were
Yeah.
receptive. We were very much in our now, in our being in the moment,
Mm-hmm.
very childlike receiving. So that helped a lot. It was quite an achievement and felt incredibly significant. One of the women, Franny, felt the energy around us increasing immensely. Within minutes, her voice began to change, taking on a
Mm.
very low, deep, burly tone like that of a man. She slipped into a trance like state and began speaking to us in a very loud, authoritative voice. We all jumped. That was when the Star Brethren entities began sharing a number of messages with us through Franny. First one is greetings, beloved ones. We are speaking to you through your person. Do you understand? We stood awestruck and in complete unison responded, yes. We are always here, and we have not been welcomed by the residents here for eons. We are very pleased that you have called upon us for communication. Do you understand? We all responded, yes. We have called upon you. Remember that as you have called upon us. We have called upon you. It is our great delight. Do you understand? We all loudly responded, yes. All of you will be like transmitters. Feel that part of your body where the connection is felt. Information packets have been dispersed throughout your body to be opened throughout your lives, beneficial to all of your respective friends, family, and community. Do you understand? We all confirmed and felt the area in our bodies where we chose to accept the gift of energy in our bodies. You and those who come in contact will with I'm sorry, you and those who you come in contact with will feel this energy when you shake hands or hug or consciously reach out, which I am doing right now to all of you.
Mm-hmm.
Feel, allow these energies to flow through you to all you touch for all your lives. Do you understand? We joyously confirm. This will allow them to come closer into this dimension. We will communicate with you on your levels of dimension not as if we have physical bodies. We do not. We are not in form. We are energy. Do you understand? Yes. Our ships are about the size of this town. They are like whole cities. Something about bringing their cities together with our cities was heard by Davina. And Davina, by the way, is a young lady who lives here in Kelowna, and she was one of the people that was that boarded the ship with me,
Hmm.
and loves to talk about this subject as well. And so do some of the others. The 12 of
Hmm.
us are all very thrilled to have these implants. We have many cities, as you do. Pay attention to your dreams tonight and always. Share the dreams, which is what I do in my book. This whole book is basically dreams that I have that I'm sharing.
Yeah.
We, our group, are the ones who will bring other these other beings, closer to everyone in a loving way. Ardeus heard something about upping our frequency for all time. We are very grateful that you have chosen to open your receptiveness. We all agree and confirm. Ardeus then asked the entities what form they took. Once again, they responded through Franny in the same slow, deep male voice. They described themselves as being very tall, over 7 feet, and referred to themselves as light beings, a term they believed we were familiar with. They explained their vibration was too high a frequency for the human eye to see. For this reason, they were invisible to us, but we would be able to see their silhouettes as they were wearing capes. At that point, they invited us to come aboard their ship. They were indeed glowing light and very tall with broad shoulders, which we could see by their capes. They had no mouths, just round human shaped heads. Their final messages through Franny were repeats of their being very grateful. Speak from your hearts, very important, they also shared. This communication is ended. I then wrote down notes that I took from others in our group. I'll just read you one of them because there are several of them here. I wrote notes after our encounter and invited several of us to recount the experience in their own handwriting. Kathy Bliss, a longtime assistant to a bishop of the Catholic Church, was one of the last four to join us. She shared the experience in her own words, quote, "When I got there late mid-channeling, we were gifted with implanted packets. These packets will unfold in the future as gifts, good things and blessings, which we are to share with family and all we meet, shaking hands and hugging. They will feel it. We were asked to identify the body parts where they were placed. It was obvious where that was. They were very grateful for our receptiveness and said not only were we calling to them, but they were calling to us as well. They talked about our paying attention to our inner levels as they were giving us a tour of their ship. I could see from standing toward the outer circumference of their main chamber, looking down a ribbed hallway, glowing with reddish brown and purple blue. Their speaking again brought me back into the logical mind to interpret their words. They said they, quote, lived in villages of ships, or maybe we could think of them as cities, or even countries as we know them, and so on.
Hmm.
So that is a very vivid experience, and it has enriched my life dramatically.
Hmm.
I was on my boat last summer, enjoying the night sky, and lying on my back, and there, behold, right here in Kelowna, over Lake Okanagan, were the three stars,
Hmm.
the triangle, darting across
Hmm.
the sky. I had never seen
Wow.
that since this incident, which, by the way, was March of 2000.
Hmm.
And so last summer was what, 2020 to
Yeah.
2000 to 2020, right? So
Yeah.
20 years. And 20 years later, those three stars, three, what do we call them? Three lights,
Sure.
were
Yeah.
darting over the lake. And I was, it was 2 o'clock in the morning and I was out there alone on the lake. So it was another experience for me to behold and to refresh me and to give me more confidence in being able to be the messenger that they want me to be, and that they allow me to be. So yes, I am in a way a messenger from aliens. What else are they? But they're equal
No,
with us. That's the point. That's the whole thing about knowingness and self.
and what's the harm in it? Really, there
And what's
isn't
the harm?
any,
And
right?
they're here for us. They want us to flourish. They want us to be healthy and watch out that our planet isn't ruined. I think they can
Yeah,
help us intercept potential disasters. We now have the ability to annihilate ourselves with the atom bomb. I'm
yeah,
sure they're making sure that that doesn't happen, and that's
yeah,
not an easy job, especially with a lot of grief in the world and a lot of anxiety going on today with the pandemic and all that.
yeah,
I would say we need them, and we're thankful to them, and we love them, and we welcome them. We are all one forever beings. Is tied to my saying of loving universal consciousness, LUC. And what is loving universal consciousness? Consciousness is consciousness. It's not about
yeah.
entities. It's consciousness, not entities. And certainly they contribute to our consciousness. And I welcome them.
Absolutely. If nothing else, maybe their return after 20 years was just a quick little reminder of the awareness you possess.
Yeah, and I had to pinch myself. I said, Steve, is this really happening? Are those the same three stars? And sure enough,
Yeah,
it was. I was wide awake. It was not a dream.
beautiful.
Yeah,
No, I think it's amazing. And again, just to a little elaborating on that idea of the harmlessness of it is, if the indication was very clear that there was a nefarious reason for them having visited you 20 years ago, I would think that in 20 years it would be revealed. But it hasn't. It's been nothing but good things for 20 years. So,
wonderful things. They,
uh,
they give me
yeah,
confidence. Yes, that chip that they implanted in me
yeah,
gives me courage. It's wonderful.
beautiful.
Thank you.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah,
All right. Well, that's a lot to digest. Let's take a little break for just a moment, and then we'll come back. And I got one more thing I want to talk to you about today.
wonderful. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you all so much.
Okay, we are back. We got one more thing I wanted to talk to you about, which is you have this unique way of writing certain things and saying certain things. I experienced an extraordinary amount of it as we were working on the All One Era book together. And it's this idea of saying no with a capital K, or self with a capital S, or other words like that, where it's important to you to sort of extra symbolize the importance of something by giving it a capital letter. And I just think it's so fascinating. I'd love if you would share your thoughts behind that.
Okay, thank you, Matthew. Yeah, putting the right emphasis on the right syllable kind of thing.
Yeah.
When we say a word like knowingness, that word is so beautiful. It is the opening to being in the moment. It is the receiving of the signals and the memories of a myriad of things we've experienced in this lifetime and in many lifetimes. We are, forever beings. We are eternal. We are immortal, and
Hmm.
for us, we're walking, through this physical plane, tuning out everything but 3D. But there's 4D, there's 5D, there's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, there's 11, 12, and there's even
Oh
13D.
my
Oh my
gosh.
gosh. Why not be in that moment? So when I say knowingness, that includes those echelons
Mm,
of understanding of who we really are, and that's so such a gift.
absolutely.
Why tune it out? So yeah,
Yeah.
I put the right emphasis on it by putting a capital K on it. Also, the word self.
Yeah.
You know, people right away think that you're talking about ego self, and that
Hmm.
you're self-conscious, or you're narcissistic, or whatever the silly judgment of All of it. We're all guilty of it. Me too.
Yeah.
We all come to judgments. I'm not immune to it either.
Yeah.
But the point is, when you put a capital S on the word self, it makes you, sit up straight and think, what are we talking about here? And
Hmm.
so I do have a little quote from my book that I would like to read, if I may,
Please.
that really, to me, brings out what the self is.
Yeah.
And it's by,
So this is specific to the word self itself.
it is.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Great.
it is. And it's by Elizabeth H., the
Hmm.
author of Initiation. Elizabeth founded the largest yoga school in Europe, and it still exists.
Hmm.
And her students pretty much begged her to reiterate her experiences in her past lives as the daughter of the Pharaoh. And
Hmm.
she wrote the most magnificent book called Initiation,
Hmm.
where she was the daughter of the Pharaoh, and her mother had passed away. So then she had to become the wife of the Pharaoh.
Ah.
Okay. But only was a teenager. So I don't
Hmm.
think it was a physical thing. It was just, in protocol.
Yeah.
And she was a student of the teachings of the day, which were these, remember, the long-headed, you know, ancient
Yes.
civilization that were the pharaohs. And the pharaoh's brother was the teacher, and she was going through initiation of becoming a priestess herself.
Hmm.
And then, of course, her temptation was to be back in the body and have the attention of a man, okay,
Hmm.
as a lover. And this triangle, which is the oldest, plot around,
Yeah.
is a magnificent
True.
plot. And I actually wrote to the H family asking if we
Hmm.
could someday make an opera out of it. Can you imagine how
Oh,
beautiful an opera it would be with the dress of the day, the pharaohs, and
sure.
the temples, and the visitors, foreign lands who rode on these big steeds and had great muscles and were so manly, right? And this
Yeah.
beautiful princess and the temptations and so on. But that's all an aside, and has nothing basically to do with that. But it is a quote of her father's brother, the teacher, Tohotop.
Okay.
Okay? And it's from him. Quote, the God man consciously manifests and controls all seven levels of creation, but his consciousness identifies itself only with the seventh, divine plane, not with the lower ones. He knows them, masters them, uses them, but does not eat of these fruits of the tree of knowledge, of good and evil. He consciously remains in God, in the paradisical state. He unites within himself all seven planes in divine unity. He is matter. He has a body, is a plant. He animates, nourishes, and cares for his body as for a good instrument. He is animal. He has instincts and feelings. He is man. He has intellect and the power of logical thought. He
Hmm.
is a genius. He has intuition and works out of the plane of causes. He is a prophet. He stands above time and space, seeing the future and the past, loving the entire universe with selfless, all inclusive love, helping all creatures towards redemption from the fetters of the world. And he is a God man. He is omniscient and omnipotent. He is what he is, the eternal being, life itself, God. Elizabeth H., author of Initiation.
Hmm.
So, when we talk about the word self, this would probably be the highest definition of what each of us can and is
Hmm.
in our in our state of knowingness, a divine being,
Absolutely.
indeed.
All one forever divine beings.
All one forever
When
divine beings, indeed.
when considering the difference between, say, I know that and I know that, one with the capital K and one without, uh, what what would be a formal distinction there with respect to knowing or knowingness?
Well, it's a loosely word. It's a loosely used word. Knowingness. It's kind of a tricky word there. Again, it refers to bringing in the understanding of the different spheres of knowingness, and different spheres of being. I can't explain it, but like I said, it's not just
Hmm.
three dimensional. It's all the dimensions. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. It's a combination of all the dimensions. It's being in different dimensions. It's there. It's being in the no time. It's got it's
Right.
right. In fact, there is no time. That is in itself is an illusion. It's one of the reasons I love the pyramid so much is because here it lessens the effect that we're all chained down with. Yeah, it opens up our ability to delve into other dimensions more easily. Yeah.
I love the idea of no time, and I love that you've chosen to represent that in the icon for this podcast by using a an hourglass with no sand in it.
Yeah.
There's no time.
No
I
time.
love that.
No time.
Um, well, that's very interesting and very very revealing, and I think it's interesting because you can't say the word self and have people instinctively know that there's a capital S when you've said it, right? In
Mhm.
print, it may be different, but I love the fact that when you do say it and you do mean it with a capital S, that you very clearly state that in in the context of the conversation,
I
right?
do. I I like to say on the back cover, all one era, realizing the glory of who we are. This is an older copy, and I have changed that to realizing the grandness of who we are.
Yes.
I think that once we start realizing our grandness and our divinity and our ability to be conduits,
Hmm.
some people call it surrender, and that's a
Hmm.
beautiful word. One of the most wonderful teachers gave me that word. She was in her 80s, retired school teacher, and actually she was principal, and she was a speed reading teacher, which was amazing.
Hmm.
She gave me that word and said that's what she lived by: surrender.
Oh,
Yeah, we surrender to loving universal consciousness, to the way it is as it unfolds, and we can give to it consciously and proactively, and we take
yeah,
from it also. That's a beautiful thing. Sometime maybe we'll have a talk about loving universal consciousness. I would love to expound upon
absolutely.
that. Yeah.
You just said something once again new. The idea of there's this thing, we give it a name because we have to things have to
Yes.
have a name so we know what we're talking about.
Yes.
But specifically this idea of contributing to it and taking from it,
Yes.
that's something I think is worthy of a
I
lengthier
would love to
discussion.
expand on that and
Yeah,
to be in the moment with it.
yeah,
Because when you're in the moment with it, it will come to us. I
yeah,
almost would love to have interaction between those who are listening and hear their questions and answer them because that's when we get into really great discussions and
sure.
podcasts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, is when we tackle the cynical, questions, and
Agreed,
yeah,
agreed.
and the oh gosh, the people who are saying, oh, you're full of BS, whatever,
Yeah.
and we welcome that. We want to hear that. We want to how could you say, make this something that's not a clique or a club. To
Yeah.
the contrary, we want it to be understood for what it is. And what it is just simply understanding who we are, you
Yeah.
know, trying to all do it. And that takes doing it together. One person
Agreed.
can't do it alone.
No.
If you want to call it the Christ consciousness or whatever you call it,
Yeah.
it's a beautiful thing, and it's here and it's all around us.
Being given a chance to prove otherwise is certainly something that I think would be exciting, and we could possibly do that through the form of like a live podcast,
Oh, that would be
you know,
fun. Yeah, I
on
love
occasion.
that. Yeah,
Yeah,
love
and
that.
give people the chance. Let's poke some holes. Hey, like we said in the very beginning, there's a very good chance that you and I will learn some things too.
Oh,
Heck,
we
the
totally
older
will.
I get, the more I know how much I don't know. Right?
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you
So
so much, brother. That was
thank
great.
you.
Thank you all
It's
for
been
coming
another
today.
wonderful conversation. Oh my gosh, I
Wonderful,
just interrupted you.
wonderful.
So you finish what you want to say.
Oh no, I'm done. I just wanted to give my thanks and gratitude.
Yeah, me
Gratitude's such
too.
a beautiful word. Yeah, it actually heals. Just saying the word gratitude is so healing.
I
Beautiful.
believe it, man. All right, onward and upward for the next till we meet again, my friend.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Love you,
Thank
brother.
you to everyone who's tuned in, and we can't wait to be in the moment with you again soon.
Yes.
Take care.